Soil, Water, Sun. This is a volunteer gardening training 101 from your friends at Sullivan Renaissance. Our mission is to provide the resources to make it easier for homeowners, business owners, and community groups to plant and maintain gardens to improve the environment. We want to help you enhance your community by improving curb appeal and adding more plant biodiversity to your neighborhoods. So the best way to do that is from the ground up. So we're going to start with the soil and do a soil test. It's the squeeze test that you do by picking up a handful of soil from the ground and squeezing it tight and then letting your fist open up again. There's 3 types of soils. They are classified as clay, sandy, and loamy soils. Clay is nutrient rich but slow draining. And when you open your hand, if you have clay soil, it will remain in a tight ball. Sand is quick draining and it has trouble retaining nutrients and moisture. Open your hand and the sand will easily sift through your fingers. Loam is generally considered to be the ideal soil because it retains moisture and nutrients but doesn't stay soggy, and it will look like it does in the hand in the upper left-hand corner of this slide. The second test you want to take is the percolation test to test for soil drainage. Some plants will eventually die if their roots stay wet too long. To test your soil's drainage, you need to dig a hole about 6 inches wide and 1 foot deep. Fill that hole with water and let it drain completely. Once it has, fill it again with water. Now you need to keep track of how long it took for the water to drain the second time. If the water takes more than 4 hours to drain, you have poor drainage. Don't plant there. Test number 3 is our worm test. Worms are great indicators of soil health. The more worms, the healthier your soil. So to do this worm test, be sure the soil has warmed to at least 55 degrees in the spring. And that is what we want to make sure, that the soil is at least moist and not soaking wet. Dig a hole 1 foot across and 1 foot deep. Place that soil on a tarp or a piece of cardboard. Sift through that soil with your hands as you place it back into the hole, counting the earthworms as you go. If you find at least 10 worms, your soil is in pretty good shape. Less than that indicates there may not be enough organic matter in your soil to support a healthy worm population, or that your soil is either too acidic or too alkaline. And what does that mean? That's the next test. That's our pH test for acidity or alkalinity level. pH is tested on a scale of 0 to 14, 0 being very acidic and 14 being very alkaline. Most plants grow best in soil with a fairly neutral pH between 6 and 7. That is when most of the nutrients are available to the plants at that proper pH. So, you can have a community garden just about anywhere. This was a brown field on a 3-way corner, and there was nothing there but an abandoned old building. And the community was really tired of seeing this horrible sight every day as they went to the post office, to their local coffee shop, etc. So they built right on top of the soil and built this beautiful green oasis in their community. How did they do it? This is one way that we can show you that's easy. You can do a community project in less than 2 hours because everyone can garden. Find the spot that you wish to beautify. This happened to be a community pool area with an ugly chain link fence. So we put down 5 to 6 single layers of newspaper, black and white print. It can have some color in it. It just can't be the shiny sections, which would be your sale or magazine sections of the Sunday paper. Lay that down and then add 10 to 12 inches of nice black gold finished compost. Plant your plants in the finished compost and then cover your soil with 2 to 3 inches of wood chips. Here's another area that we did, and we planted right on top of the turf, the existing turf again. This time we used cardboard and not newspaper. It was a lot easier to do. And again, we added 10 to 12 inches of finished compost, and then we planted our plants directly into the finished compost and put 2 to 3 inches of wood chips around. You can edge your beds after this. And the way we do it is we dig down straight 4 to 6 inches deep, as you can see on the right hand side of this visual. And then you want to throw that soil that you've edged and dug down back into the garden bed and make sure it's smooth. At that point, then you can put a layer of mulch on top of it. If you want, you can put some newspaper down between the soil and the mulch. It would just take longer then for the mulch to break down, which is a good thing. You want to match the plants to the site, and we will go into more of plant selection in Volunteer Gardener Training 102, so I hope you'll come back and watch that. One thing to consider in matching plants is to figure out how hardy they are and if they can take the cold of our Sullivan County climates. Our zone is zone 4B to zone 6, depending on altitude where you live. The other thing that is coming more into use is heat tolerance. As we move more into climate change, it's our hot summer nights that are deciding what plants are still hardy in certain zones. And what was once a zone 4 is now a zone 5. What was a zone 5 is becoming zone 6. So we'll see heat tolerance become more of a factor in the future. Now we have soil, and we know what our light conditions may be. So we'll look at water. We need to water at least 1 inch a week. If Mother Nature does it for us, then we don't need to. So we need to keep track. And here is a rain gauge that you can buy very inexpensively. Put it out in the middle of your garden where there are no trees overhanging, so you get a good reading of how much rain actually fell. Mark that down to see how much you've made, how much rain has fallen during the week. If you don't have a fancy rain gauge, you can just go to your recycle bin and find some cans. You want to place the cans out around your garden, and you want to see how long it takes, first of all, to fill with 1 inch of water, and then you want to see how much water you will need to add to additionally to make up 1 inch. So let's say you received a 1/2 inch of water, you need to make up 1 inch, so you're going to need to water for at least 30 more minutes. To get 1 inch of water that week. Buy a good sturdy hose. One that is guaranteed for 10 years is best. You want to make sure that it's durable and flexible. We urge you to have a rain barrel. It can be attached right to the bottom of your gutter, and in a 1 inch rain event, we can have up to 762 inches of water fall into that rain barrel. So you definitely want to collect rain and use it. The other thing you can use is a drip hose. This is made from recycled tires. You can place this drip hose either underneath your mulch or on top, and it will slowly ooze water out. And you can tell how much water has come out of this by placing a can underneath the drip hose into your flower bed and then measuring how long it took to fill with 1 inch of water. Use a sprinkler, and here is the fixed spray type to the left or the rotary type on the right. And you can see that during June and July is when you would need to add more water, and you want to make sure that you water in the morning, because just as Mother Nature provides morning dew, water in the morning, dew. One of my favorite sprinklers is a new one out in the market called the Rainforest Sprinkler, and it provides a very soft mist for your garden. It also works on very low pressure, and you can attach 2 to 3 of these devices in one line. So we're looking at the sun now. We have had the soil, we've had the rain, now we need sun to finish the photosynthesis equation. And here we have some high shade is what we would call it. So there are times during the day where there are shafts of sun that come into this garden and give it some pretty good sun to grow all these beautiful plants that you see. So I would call this part shade and grow plants that are appropriate to this condition. So remembering sun angles through the year. In the summer, the sun is highest in the sky. So from 10 to 2, you're going to get some very strong sun. And that 4 hours of sun a day could be considered full sun if it's during those solid 4 hours, 10 to 2. So see where you have different gardens and see what the sun exposure is. See when it's shady, see when it's sunny. See if there's a house or some other structure that's providing shade during the day. And keep track of that so you can tell if it's a mostly sun or shade situation. and then pick the appropriate plants. In this slide, I will point out Geranium roseanne, which is one of our Sullivan Renaissance collection plants, but there are many other choices that are native or not invasive that you should choose. And for shade, same thing. There are a lot of good selections. If you have deer, I would stay away from hosta, or you're going to have to spray deer repellents all the time. So finally, go and visit other places and see what their community gardens look like. Think about attracting many things to this garden to keep people in the downtown and attract people and invite them to meet one another and become a community. And here you can see there's a place to sit. There's a garbage barrel, and there's a recycling barrel, and they even have a birdhouse to invite the birds. So as a community, as a family, we can do some wonderful community beautification throughout Sullivan County. So let's do it together so we have something to crow about. Thank you.